All right, number 3, we want to find the vertex, axis of symmetry, determine minimum or maximum, and then we want to graph the function. All right, so instead of writing down f of x equals, I'm going to go ahead and set the equation equal to 0. So we have x squared divided by 2 plus 2x plus 7 equals 0. All right, and then in completing the square, because we want to convert this to vertex form, we first need to move the 7 over by subtracting 7. So the sign will change. So now we have x squared divided by 2 plus 2x. I'm going to leave plus a blank space because I'm going to be adding something. Equals now negative 7. I'm also going to do plus blank space over here. Whatever you add to one side, you must add to the other. All right, before I begin to try to add whatever I need to add, I must get rid of this constant term in the front. So it's x divided by 2, but what you really need to understand is 1/2 coefficient in front of x. So in order to fix that, I must factor out a 1/2. So I'm dividing each term by 1/2. 1/2, I'm pulling that out. And here is the background of what's going on there. So anytime you divide a number by itself, because when you factor out, you're pretty much dividing that number. 1/2 divided by 1/2 is 1. It's the same thing as something divided by itself. The math behind it is 1/2, the top, the first part, keep it, change to multiplication, flip the other fraction, flip the second one. And then you multiply straight across. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. So when you have a fraction divided by a fraction that looks funky, this is the process. All right, same thing. I now have this 2. So when I divide out the 1/2 from here, we're just left with x squared. That 1/2 just turns to 1. Now I have to do that same thing with the 2. So 2 divided by 1/2, okay, follow that process. Keep the top, the first fraction, and you can look at this as 2 over 1, but 2 is a whole number. Keep, change, flip, 2 over 1. You put it over 1. When you multiply fractions, top times top, bottom times bottom. So we get 4 over 1, which is just 4. All right, so when we factor a half from here, it becomes 4x. And then plus blank space equals negative 7 plus some add in. Okay, now that I have that leading coefficient as a 1, now we can start to complete the square process. We take this middle term, divided by 2, and square it. All right, so 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we're going to add 2 squared. I'm going to leave it just like that. 2 squared. All right. Before you add that over here, if you have a coefficient, you also have to multiply it by this. So we added 2 squared here, which is 4. But once we go through the distributing process, this 4 is going to get multiplied by half, or divided by 2. So what I need to add on this side is really 1/2 of 2 squared, or 4, if you will. And this will just give you 2. So we need to add 2 on this side, because overall, that's what I added here. All right. Now, we're going to simplify our factor, and then we'll be done. So this 1/2, I'm going to keep it here. The 2 squared terms, I'm going to put them together. So x and a positive 2. And I'm going to put the squared on the outside, so that's the shortcut to factoring. And then negative 7 positive 2 equals a negative 5. And I'm going to add 5 and move it over to this side. So my final form, so I'll have it in vertex form now, is 1/2 x squared plus 2. 1/2 x plus 2 squared. Sorry, I said that wrong, and I'm running out of room here. So 1/2 x plus 2 squared, add the 5 over, so plus 5 is equal to 0, or f of x. And then now that I can just replace this. So your function in vertex form is 1/2 x plus 2 squared plus 5, and this is in vertex form. Alright, so now let's answer all of those questions. We want to find the vertex. So V for vertex, opposite of the x value, -2. Same y value from outside, 5. Axis of symmetry, AOS, is given by x equal the same coordinate of the x coordinate from the vertex, so -2. Now, do we have a minimum or maximum? Well, A is positive. That means my parabola opens up like a U shape. And I can't see that. All right, so U shape, indicating we're going to have a minimum. So we have a minimum, and the minimum value is the y coordinate of the vertex. So the minimum is 5. And then we're going to graph this guy. So when you graph it, you want whole numbers. So I want to see if I can, I don't want to make that, if I can, no, if we did 0, we'll get the same thing. If x is 0, let's just do that. That's the easiest thing to do. We need a second order pair. So we're going to let x equal 0, try to find the y-intercept. Alright, so if this is 0, we're going to work this whole thing out. 1/2 0 plus 2 squared plus 5. Alright. So 0 is x value. What is the y value going to be when we solve it? This is going to be 2. 2 squared is 4. Half of 4 is 2 again, plus 5 is 7. So we get the ordered pair 0, 7. So whenever you graph it, you have to have that other ordered pair. So we're going to do 0, 7. Easy to plug in something small for x and work it out. Okay, so we have everything we need, so now we can start punching this stuff in. Alright, so the vertex is -2, 5. -2, 5. The axis of symmetry, x equals -2, same as the x coordinate of the vertex. We decided we have a minimum. The value of that minimum is the y coordinate from the vertex, which is 5. And we're going to graph it. We have a parabola. We're going to graph this minimum point -2, this vertex. -2 down 5. I'm at -3. -2, 5. Those are the coordinates up here. So I'm looking up there to verify I'm in the right spot. And then the other point, 0, 7 that we got, the y-intercept, 0, 7. And we get that. You can pick any x value you want, but you want to try to get something that's going to be on this axis between -10 and +10. The further out you go, the higher up the point will be. So if you go too far out, like if I'd have picked 2 or 4, my y value would have been off the screen, and you will not be able to plot it. So you want to stay within 1 to 2 tick marks from this guy. So I went +2 in the right direction, and that got me there. If you go too far, stray too far from this point, it'll be off the screen. Alright, so it's saying something. Find the vertex and one other point. Let me make sure I got everything plotted right. It's not liking it, so let me clear. So we definitely know the vertex is correct, -2, 5. Let me check the other point. I plug in the 0. 2 is 4. Half of 4 is 2. I think that should be good. Let me look at this again. Oh, I went -2 and I went -5. That's my problem. I should be at -2, +5. Okay. I just put the point in the wrong spot. -2, +5. That's what we